War of Galaxies, Humanity's Impossible Choice. Chapter 1, The Discovery. It all began with a faint signal. Deep space satellites, ever vigilant for signs of life beyond Earth, intercepted a message, one that scientists and governments had long been waiting for, but feared. After decades of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, humanity had finally received its answer. But it wasn't just one signal, it was two. The Andrithians were the first to make contact. A noble race with a millennia-long history of war and peace, they communicated their message of alliance and unity with grace. They saw humanity as a young but promising race, and they were ready to offer guidance and protection in exchange for solidarity in an approaching conflict. The Andrithians valued integrity, honor, and cooperation. They had no interest in conquest, but instead sought allies who would help them preserve the peace in their galaxy. Within weeks, however, the second message arrived. The Zorvans, a technologically superior race, contacted Earth with an entirely different proposal. Unlike the peaceful Andrithians, the Zorvans were conquerors. Their empire stretched across galaxies, and they had no interest in human ideals. What they did offer, though, was power. Their technology could cure diseases, eliminate hunger, and bring peace and prosperity to humanity at a price. The world stood at a crossroads. Two alien civilizations offered humanity a future, but the paths diverged in opposite directions. Chapter 2, The Proposal. The leaders of Earth scrambled to respond. Meetings were held in secret. Scientists, military officials, and diplomats debated endlessly. Each race offered something crucial to humanity's future, but both came with hidden costs. The Andrithians presented themselves as warriors of peace. They had maintained balance in their galaxy for centuries, fending off threats without falling into the darkness of conquest. They offered to integrate humanity into their alliance. By joining forces, humanity could rise to become a respected member of a galactic federation, one governed by strict codes of honor, morality, and balance. In return, humanity would be expected to help the Andrithians in their struggle against the Zorvans, who had long threatened to disrupt the balance of power. The Zorvans, on the other hand, offered more immediate rewards. With technology far beyond anything humanity had ever imagined, they could solve Earth's most pressing problems, curing diseases, eliminating poverty, reversing environmental damage, and advancing humanity into a golden age of prosperity. But their intentions were far less clear. They asked for Earth's allegiance and resources to fuel their ever-expanding empire, promising great benefits, but at the cost of autonomy. Both races wanted humanity's loyalty, and both offered contrasting visions of the future. The pressure mounted as Earth's leaders realized that this decision would not just shape humanity's future, it would determine their survival. Chapter 3, The Debate. As news of the potential alliances began to leak, Earth descended into chaos. Protests erupted in cities across the globe, and the media was flooded with speculation about which side humanity should choose. The Andrithians' proposal, steeped in honor and tradition, appealed to those who valued humanity's moral integrity and long-term survival. They promised a future where humanity could grow into a respected and equal partner in the galaxy, but only if they adhered to the Andrithians' strict code of ethics. Meanwhile, the Zorvans appealed to pragmatists. Their technology could solve the problems that had plagued humanity for centuries. Cures for terminal illnesses, solutions to climate change, and the promise of an abundant future were difficult to ignore. But some feared that the Zorvans were only using Earth as a pawn in their imperialistic ambitions. Behind the scenes, the debate grew more intense. Some leaders were drawn to the stability and honor of the Andrithians, while others believed that humanity's only chance of survival lay in the advanced technology offered by the Zorvans. Both sides feared making the wrong choice, knowing that the consequences could be catastrophic. The world stood on the edge of a precipice, and the clock was ticking. Chapter 4, The Hidden Truth. As the negotiations continued, both the Andrithians and the Zorvans increased their efforts to win humanity's favor. The Andrithians sent emissaries to Earth, showcasing their peaceful ways and promising a future of honor and cooperation. The Zorvans, ever practical, demonstrated their advanced technology, curing previously incurable diseases and transforming cities overnight with their futuristic infrastructure. However, as the negotiations dragged on, Earth's intelligence agencies began to unearth troubling information. The Zorvons, despite their promises, had a history of using their allies for their own gain. In past alliances, once a race had outlived its usefulness, they were discarded, their planet stripped of resources. Many feared that humanity would be no different, a temporary partner in the Zorvons' relentless march of expansion. But the Andrithians were not without their flaws. Though they claimed to value peace, their galaxy was littered with the remnants of species that had refused to join their federation. Rigid in their beliefs, they destroyed any civilization that did not conform to their way of life. Joining the Andrithians meant surrendering much of humanity's individuality, as their laws were unforgiving and absolute. Faced with this unsettling information, humanity's leaders realized that there was no perfect choice. Both alliances came with heavy costs, and no matter which path they chose, humanity would have to pay a price. Chapter 5: The Choice. After months of debate, Earth's United Council convened for one final vote. The world watched as the fate of humanity was decided behind closed doors. Both the Andrithians and Zorvons had presented their final offers, each promising a future that was difficult to refuse. On one side were the advocates for the Andrithians. They argued that humanity should stand with those who valued honor, even if it meant living under a more restrictive code. Aligning with the Andrithians would bring stability, peace, and long-term survival, but at the cost of human freedom. On the other side were the proponents of the Zorvons. They believed that humanity could not afford to turn down the Zorvons' offer of technological salvation. Earth had been ravaged by disease, environmental destruction, and poverty for too long, and the Zorvons held the key to fixing it all. Yes, their empire was expansive and aggressive, but aligning with them could elevate humanity to new heights. In the end, the Council made its choice. Humanity would join forces with the Zorvons. The promise of technological salvation was too tempting to resist, and the hope of curing humanity's ills outweighed the risks of becoming a pawn in the Zorvons' empire. Chapter 6: The Aftermath. At first, it seemed that humanity had made the right choice. The Zorvons delivered on their promises, bringing an era of prosperity to Earth. Diseases were eradicated, poverty became a thing of the past, and cities thrived with Zorvon technology. Humanity had never known such peace and abundance. But it wasn't long before the cracks began to show. The Zorvons began to exert more control over Earth's resources, subtly at first, but with increasing aggression. Human leaders found themselves sidelined, with key decisions being made by Zorvon overseers. Earth's independence was slowly eroding, and whispers of rebellion began to spread among the people. Meanwhile, the Andrithians, feeling betrayed by humanity's choice, regrouped with their allies and prepared for war. The galaxy was now divided, and Earth found itself on the front lines of a conflict that threatened to tear the universe apart. As the war intensified, humanity realized that they had been used. The Zorvons had no interest in partnership. They sought only domination. Human soldiers were sent to die in battles that were not their own, and Earth's once prosperous cities became targets in a war that seemed unwinnable. Chapter 7: The Cost of Peace. Years passed, and the once glorious alliance with the Zorvons turned to ashes. The technology that had once promised to save humanity became the chains that bound them to servitude. The Zorvons had stripped Earth of its autonomy, and human leaders were little more than figureheads. The war against the Andrithians raged on, but humanity was no longer in control of its own destiny. The Zorvons used Earth as a pawn, sacrificing its resources and people to fuel their empire. The dream of a prosperous future had been shattered, and the cost of peace had been far greater than anyone had imagined. Centuries after the fall of humanity, a new race emerged from the distant reaches of the galaxy. They discovered the ruins of Earth, a once great planet, now desolate and scarred by the war that had destroyed it. As they explored the remnants of human civilization, they found records of humanity's rise and fall and the impossible choice they had faced. This new race, standing at the beginning of their own journey into the stars, wondered what lessons they could learn from humanity's fate. Would they repeat the same mistakes, or would they forge a different path? As they pondered these questions, they realized that the universe was vast and unforgiving. The choices made by civilizations had consequences that echoed across the stars, and the fate of humanity served as a reminder of the dangers of seeking power at any cost. In the end, the stars held no easy answers. But the lesson of humanity's downfall remained clear. Sometimes the most tempting offers come with the greatest price. And in the vastness of the universe, there are no guarantees, only choices.